purpose of this video is to introduce something called point-slope form. Number 1 says write the equation that has a slope of 1/3 and passes through the point 1, -7, and then graph it. Don't convert it to slope-intercept form. Now, point-slope form looks like this. Y minus y sub 0 equals m times x minus x sub 0, where x sub 0, y sub 0 are the coordinates of any point on the line. And m, as in slope-intercept form, stands for the slope. So, in number 1, we were given the slope is 1/3, and it passes through the point 1, -7. So if we use point-slope form, it would look like y minus the y-coordinate of the point, which is -7, equals the slope, which we know is 1/3, times x minus the x-coordinate of the point, which is 1. And I'll simply simplify this here. I'll simplify the subtracting -7 as y plus 7 equals 1/3 x, or 1/3 times the quantity x minus 1. That would be the equation in point-slope form. Now let's graph the line. So it passes through the point 1, -7, which is here. And it has a slope of 1/3. So that means the y's change by 3 for every 1x. Oh, I'm sorry, the other way around. The y's change by 1 for every 3 x's. So the slope is 1/3, so the y's increase by 1 when the x's increase by 3. So the line would look something like this. Now, in number 2, we're asked to find the y-intercept. We can see that this y-intercept is not a whole number. It's somewhere between -7 and -8. And in fact, since the line changes 1 y for every 3 x's, that means if we go back 1 x, the y should only change by 1/3. So that means this y-intercept must be 0, negative sorry about that. So the y's have to change by 1/3, and that means that this point would be 0, -7 and 1/3. Now, in order to find the x-intercept, it's not so easy. We can't just look at our graph and find out what the x-intercept is, because the x-intercept would be off our grid. But we do know the equation of the line is y plus 7 equals 1/3 times x minus 1. And we know that all points on the x-axis have a y-coordinate of 0. So, if I substitute 0 for y and solve for x, I will find the x-intercept. So, 0 plus 7 is 7. We have 7 equals 1/3 times x minus 1. Now, to get x by itself, I'm going to first of all get rid of this 1/3 by multiplying both sides by the reciprocal of 1/3, which would be 3. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. On the left side, we'll get 21. On the right side, we'll get rid of the 1/3 and just get x minus 1. And then adding 1 to both sides, we get 22 equals x, which means when the x is 22, the y is 0, which would be the x-intercept. So if you can imagine graphing this line on a larger grid, if we kept going further and further to the right, this graph would cross the x-axis at 22, 0. 3. Convert the following in point-slope form to slope-intercept form. So what we have here is an equation in point-slope form. And what we've seen is that we can see that the slope of the line is 5, and we can even find the coordinates of a point that must be on this line. The x-coordinate would have to be -9, since in point-slope form we have x minus this number. Since this is a plus, that means that the x-coordinate of the point is -9. And the y-coordinate would be 4, since in point-slope form we have y minus the y-coordinate of the point on the line. But the point of this problem is not to determine the slope and the coordinates of a point, but rather to put it into slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So to put this equation in slope-intercept form, we need to isolate the y. But before I get rid of this minus 4, I will first just distribute the 5 on the right side. So that would give us 5x plus 45. And then if we add 4 to both sides of this equation, we get y equals 5x plus 49.